Hi, friends. Today we're going to read a story that we read a couple of days ago. Can you guys remember the name of this story? That's right, it's called The Little Red Hen. The person who wrote the words is called Bonnie Dopkin. What do we call the person who writes the words? Can you tell me with a quiet hand? Madeline, what do we call the person who writes the words? Good job. We call that person the author. The person who drew the pictures is Subhash Varha. What do we call the person who draws the pictures? Avery, what do we call that person? The illustrator. Good job, friends. So we read this story a couple of days ago. It's called The Little Red Hen. Can anyone tell me what the problem was in this story? Alea, do you remember the problem in this story? What did Little Red Hen do? That's right. She did all of the work in the house. Did the Little Red Hen live by herself? Nyla, did she live by herself? No. Who does she live with? The cat, the dog, and the goose. Good job. How did the Little Red Hen teach the dog, the cat, and the goose a lesson? Do you remember? Okay, go ahead and tell me, Saijan. That's right. When the Little Red Hen baked her bread, she ate it all by herself. So we're going to read this story again, and we're going to look at the Little Red Hen, and we're going to try to see some other stuff that she did and see if you can answer some questions. Once upon a time, there were 4 friends who lived together in a barnyard. A dog, a goose, a cat, and the Little Red Hen. The dog was a lively pup who liked to play all day. After all, he said, who will chase the balls and do tricks if I don't? The cat was a handsome animal who liked to groom himself. What do we say that word handsome means? Do you guys remember? Yeah, it means you look good. After all, he said, who will take care of my good looks if I don't? The goose was a talkative bird who liked to gossip. After all, she said, who will share the news of the day if I don't? And the Little Red Hen, she liked to figure out what needed doing and do it. One day, the 4 friends decided to move together to a cozy cottage near the river, where they were very happy. The dog played all day in the big front yard. The goose waddled to the farmyard each morning and always came back with the new stories to share. The cat washed himself on the sunny windowsill. And the Little Red Hen, she cleaned the house, worked in the garden, cooked the food, and did whatever else needed doing. One afternoon, the Little Red Hen swept out the shed and found a bag of wheat seeds. Excited, she brought the bag back to the cottage. Look what I found, she said. Who will help me plant these seeds so that we can have wheat to bake some bread? Not I, said the dog. I have to play with my stick today. Not I, said the cat. I have to groom my fur today. Not I, said the goose. I had to talk to the cow today. She has news about the goat. All right, said the Little Red Hen. I'll plant these seeds myself. And she did. Good job, friends. She hoed the ground. She planted the seeds. She watered the well. And she pulled the weeds. Soon, a fine patch of wheat was growing in the tall sunlight. The wheat was ready for harvest. The Little Red Hen said, who will help me harvest it? Not I, said the dog. I have to bury my bones today. Not I, said the cat. I have to smooth my whiskers today. Not I, said the goose. I have to visit the pig today. And he said there's a scandal with the sheep. All right, said the little red hen, and I'll harvest the wheat myself. And she did. She cut the wheat and gathered and tied it up in bundles she stacked outside. Now the wheat must be grounded into flour, said the little red hen. Who will help me pull the wagon to the miller? Are her friends going to help? No, they're not.
Not I, said the dog. Today is the day I chase rabbits.
Not I, said the cat. Today is the day I clean between my toes. Not I, said the goose. Today is the day the goat said he'd tell me a secret about the cow. All right, said the little red hen, then I'll pull the wagon myself. And she did. She cleaned the wagon and loaded the wheat and went to the miller's down the street. That sounds like a rhyming word to me. Wheat and street. Wheat and street are rhyming words. The next morning, the little red hen was ready to bake. Who will help me make the dough, she asked.
Not I,
said the dog.
I'm busy chasing my tail.
Not I, said the cat. The flour would miss my clean fur. Not I, said the goose. The dust might make me hard for me to talk. All right, said the little red hen. Then I'll make the dough myself. And she did. She gathered up eggs, milk, yeast, and flour, then mixed and kneaded for nearly an hour. So she got all of the ingredients, just like we do when we cook in a classroom. And she mixed everything up in a bowl. Do you guys remember doing that? Yeah, we did it lots of times. Anybody remember what's going to happen next? Good job, Ava. She's going to put it in the oven. Now, said the little red hen, though she already knew the answer, who will help me bake the bread?
Not I,
said the dog.
It's time for me to take my nap.
Not I, said the cat. I really must get my beauty sleep. Not I, said the goose. I absolutely must rest my voice. All right, said the little red hen, then I'll bake the bread myself. And she did. She built the fire, a difficult chore, and slid the pan through the oven door. She cleaned the mess that baking had made and finally went to rest in the shade. Said that she built the fire, that was a difficult chore. What does that mean? That means it's a job that she had to do that was hard. A chore is a job that you have to do. Maybe when you guys get older, you guys will have chores around the house like sweeping and washing the dishes. Yeah. As the afternoon wore on, the wonderful aroma of baking bread drifted through the cottage. It tickled the noses of the napping dog, the sleeping cat, and the resting goose. They sniffed, they smiled, they opened their eyes. What is that heavenly smell? Said the goose. Why, that's just my fresh baked bread, said the little red hen. Who will help me eat it? What do you think they're going to say? What do you think, Kaden? Are they going to, is the cat, the dog, and the goose, if they say, yes, I want to eat it, or no, I don't want to eat it? They do want to eat it.
I will,
said the dog, jumping up from his rug. I will, said the cat, leaping down the windowsill. I will, screeched the goose, forgetting to rest her voice. Is the little red hen going to share? No, she's not. You will, said the little red hen, but you let me do everything else. How do you think the little red hen feels that she had to do everything by herself? Yeah, she's probably sad. Do you think they were being very good friends to the hen? No. You're right, yeah. Because she did everything and they would not help. The little red hen said, I hoed the ground and planted the seeds and watered them well and put the weeds. I cut the wheat and gathered and tied it up in bundles and I stacked it outside. I cleaned the wagon and loaded the wheat and went to the miller's down the street. I gathered up eggs, milk, yeast, and flour, and they mixed and kneaded for nearly an hour. I built the fire, a difficult chore, and slid the pan through the oven door. I cleaned the mess that the baking had made, and then and only then did I rest in the shade. She did a lot. Would you be tired? Miss Horton would be so tired after doing all of that. So you know what, said the Little Red Hen? I think I'm going to eat this bread myself. And she did. Who remembers what happened at the end? Do you guys remember? Henry, do you remember what happened? Yeah, they wanted to help around the house. But the next time the Little Red Hen needed help around the house, nobody said, not I. Look at all of the friends working and helping. They're doing a great job. They're being really good friends. So we've read this book 3 times already, The Little Red Hen. Miss Horton wants to know, how would the story be different if the dog, the goose, and the cat agreed to help the Little Red Hen plant the weed and harvest it and grind it? What do you think would happen at the end if the dog, the cat, and the goose helped? What do you think? Caroline, okay, what do you think? Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Little Red Hen would have shared her bread if her friends would have helped her. You're right. Good. And what do you think? What will happen if the dog, the goose, and the cat needed help? Do you think the Little Red Hen would help the dog, the goose, and the cat if they needed help? No. Remember, the dog, the goose, and the cat did not help the Little Red Hen. So maybe if they needed help, the Little Red Hen probably would not help because they were not good friends. And so, my friends, that's why it's always nice to help your friends and to play nicely so that when you need something or you want help, they will help you too. I'm so glad that you could read this story with me today. I will see you guys next time. Bye.